then we
Can you guys
will,
see?
not yet. Recorded is on. All right, so we'll admit everyone and good morning, everyone. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good. A couple of thumbs up. Okay. We're having a few technical challenges because some of us are in different locations today. So we are going to get through it. I am just saying a greeting, and then I am going to turn everything directly over to Dr. Otiello and Dr. Kennedy. And this is our sixth and final for this series. So thank you all who have been attending. It's been great. Very appreciative of the conversations we have here online as well as after and later, you know, when different people think about stuff and we have those conversations. So great stuff, and welcome Dr. Otiello and Dr. Kennedy again.
All right, welcome back. I can't believe it. It's our sixth session. We're so excited to have all of you back. And today we're going to focus on self-care. So I'm just going to open up our slides, but I'm also going to let Dr. Kennedy, you want to share anything as we get started?
Well, you know, it's been really exciting, and we're trying to see if we could come back one more time at least to share and have this communion. And I'm hearing some really great feedback that you guys are enjoying the presentations. You will also get a survey after this is all completed. Clyde will send you out a survey, and we have tons of attachments for you to also continue the work that we've been doing and to build upon it. So we're looking forward to a great discussion again.
All right. So with that said, I'm just going to open our session and get us started. Please let me know if you're able to see the slides. All right, everyone able to see?
Yes.
All right. All right, let's take it away. So we're gonna begin with centering. And Dr. Kennedy, do you want to do the centering, or do you want me to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So apologies ahead of time. I'm in a different location, as Clyde stated. So my internet is a little choppy, but we are going to push through and make this happen. So we're going to talk about self-care today, and self-care is really important, right? We've been talking a lot about all of the hard work it is going to take to decenter ourselves, right? And to center our clients. And today we're doing something a little different, which is centering ourselves, right? And you need to do that when you want to sort of take a step back and to do some compassionate self-care, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. How can you be compassionate while you're doing the work that you're doing, but focusing it more on yourself? So I want us all to sit where you currently are. If you're driving, please pull over, or you could just listen, right? But I want you to breathe. You can close your eyes during this process, but I want you to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And while you're breathing, see if you can hear anything. Is there a car passing by? Be present in the moment. Is there someone typing? Is there someone speaking? Use your senses to listen. And I want you to breathe in again. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And I want you to repeat the phrases that I'm about to tell you. I am loved. Breathe in. Breathe out. I am worthy. And I deserve care. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again, I am loved. I am worthy. And I deserve care. Take 2 more breaths. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe out. Thank you. Thank you. And this is called centering, right? So when we get anxious, when there's so much going on, you can absolutely do this at your desk. You could go to the bathroom. You could do this just walking back and forth, just getting grounded, right? Which is also known as centering yourself, to really sort of get everything back, which is your equilibrium, get it back centered and back focused with the task at hand, right? So self-care can just happen in short snippets and short moments that you can take.
I also want to say that self-care is also important. Remember, the theme of what we've been covering for the last 6 weeks was around implicit bias, intersectionality, who we are, how we show up, and staying grounded, especially when you're talking about issues that can bring up traumatic history for folks. It can be uncomfortable, especially if you have to confront or if you have to confront inward. So centering yourself is really critical, especially if you want to have meaningful, effective conversation or taking meaningful, effective action around some of the issues we've been covering. So that's why self-care is important. And that's why we're saving it for last to bring everything together for all of you.
So what is wellness, right? So we've heard about it. We are talking about self-care, but what exactly does that mean? So wellness is an active pursuit of activities, choices, lifestyle that leads to a state of holistic health, right? Overall, it is a personal choice, right? When we talk about wellness, and it's an active pursuit, right? So you can't just say, I want to be well and do nothing about it, right? So when we look at the 8 dimensions of wellness, next slide. When we look at the 8 dimensions of wellness, it's really taking an active pursuit for your emotional health, physical, social, financial, environmental, intellectual, occupational, spiritual health, right? These are the 8 dimensions of wellness, and they're all interconnected. They're all linked. So if you're not taking care of your physical self, right? Oftentimes that tends to impact your emotional well-being. It also can impact your spiritual well-being, right? So you may not feel like you want to do anything. That's a part of that interconnectedness, right? So you may not be motivated maybe to get a different kind of job, motivated to get the skills you need to move up in your current work, right? So that's what we're talking about. But you need to take time to do that in a way to hit all of the 8 dimensions of wellness. So when life spins out, you welcome stress in, right? So I thought these were really great pictures for us to really see a good visual of this, right? So the zebra losing its stripes, right? I think I'm stressed, right? So absolutely, zebras don't necessarily lose their stripes. So we want to do an anti-stress kit, right? And we want you to kind of figure out the difference between stress and burnout. Next slide. So what exactly is stress, right? Stress is a state of disharmony. So the first thing we have to understand is that we as individuals, we experience stress every single day. So there's good stress, which is called eustress, and there's also bad stress, right? And so when once stress tips over into a place where you are unable to sort of debrief and it becomes, it's diagnosable, right? And we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes. But good stress is like going on a roller coaster and you feel, it comes down and it's like, right? And that's really quick and it's automatic. Good stress is what may propel you to get the job done. I have a deadline. I have due dates. I have to make sure I take care of certain things. And that stress propels you to do work. But stress can be also debilitating, and we want to be able to recognize that before it gets over to where it becomes debilitating. So stress is a state of disharmony, a threat to your homeostasis, right? Homeostasis is essentially balance, and that's what stress is. It's a threat to your balance. So as we've been talking about a lot of the implicit bias and all the work that we're asking people to do. And then when you see our attachments as well, right? Like, oh my God, there's more to read about. There's more to delve in. That can also bring up some level of anxiety for you, right? So if you need to pull back and say, you know what, I'm going to just take a little bit once a week, I'll do a little bi-weekly, right? You sort of have to modify what's going to be best for you, because the information can be very overwhelming. It can also be overwhelming for the clients that you engage with and or your own colleagues, right? So you can do breathing exercises to do that. So physiological changes increase your alertness, focus, and also your energy, of which we're talking about when I said everything is interconnected. Stress also provides a perceived demands, which may exceed your resources. And what that essentially says is that oftentimes we're able to handle it, but sometimes you may not have enough of yourself to give. And that's what it means when we talk about exceeding your resources, right? Where it becomes debilitating. So impact of stress, brain, right? Your brain function gets impacted. We look at it where there's depression, there's anxiety, and it also can bring on panic attacks. Heart rate increases, right? Increases blood pressure and also increased risk of heart attack, right? So stress can bring that on. Stress, when we talk about heart as well, if there's something that you're not talking about, right? If there's something that you're holding on to, what's important is that you have to be able to release some of that. And everything is how you say it, right? It's not just sort of blurting things out that are, that may be harmful to other people, but it's how you say it. Like, you know what, I've been really thinking about this and this is what I think and feel. Just let it go, right? Your lungs, strained breathing, and possible asthma attack. Right? So when we do that breathing, what we did in the very beginning, what we're doing is essentially mirroring what you can do when you feel a lot of these symptoms coming on, right? Stomach pain with or even without ulcers, right? So for some of us, we may have medical problems or medical concerns that you are already sort of working in the world with, right? It gets exacerbated when we're under stress. It gets exacerbated. And the stress is, and we're talking about stress where you're exceeding your resources. Your bone, frequent muscle and joint pains as well. So again, overall wellness, interconnectedness, and we're talking about how it impacts your body. And this is what we oftentimes don't see.
Also, it's important to keep in mind that you will have signs that stress is getting bad. So some people, when they're under stress, they will feel in their neck. You start wiggling, and your body's telling you that. That means that you're starting to feel it in the bones, the muscles. Some people get headaches, and you notice that some of the symptoms around the brain. Um, is related to what's happening in the body. So some of the symptoms around depression, it could be because stress overload has happened. And we'll talk about how it differs from burnout, because in our next slide, when stress gets too much, then now you're moving into burnout zone. So I'm gonna go to the next slide.
So we've set up two columns for you to essentially view, right? Stress is not burnout, but stress can lead to burnout. And that's important to really begin to understand, right? So stress, you put too much effort into things. Also, you experience emotions more strongly, right? That can also trigger stress, right? Causes hyperactivity, less energy, lead to anxiety, physical consequences, higher chances of early death, right? Of which we talked about in terms of how it impacts your heart. Burnout, little or no input. So burnout is going, this is when you put too much effort into things, meaning that everything that you do, you want to get it right? You don't leave any room for error. You can it can go over to burnout. You experience emotions, right? Flattening out, cause of helpless feelings, right? You have less motivation and hope, can lead to depression, emotional consequences, higher chances of hopelessness. So when we talk about stress moving beyond just sort of the normal everyday, and when I said earlier where it can be diagnosable, well, depression is diagnosable, right? Especially when it prolongs for a long period of time. So you want to be able to essentially gauge this, my body, listen to your body, tune in. This is why the grounding exercises and centering yourself to sort of kind of feel where you are. If that means you need to take a break, and I'm sure we have, you have time off, right? Some people, there's FMLA, there's just a bunch of things that you can utilize just to get centered, and everyone's going to be able to get centered in a variety of different ways.
And I just want to say, it's so important to be attuned to this, because when you get to burnout, what usually happens is the body has now said, enough, shut down. And that's why you see the little or no input, the flattening of emotion. And usually when folks are at burnout, they don't care about their jobs. They don't care about anything because they can't take in anymore. The stress is too much. The body has said enough. And the only way to combat burnout is usually time away from everything so that the body can reset. And that's why you hear about people who switch careers, who leave careers altogether, because it was just so much that they didn't know how to recover from the burnout to reset. And sometimes a vacation can help you reset. Time away from the job can help you reset. Time away from life. I don't know how you take a break from life, but sometimes people take a pilgrimage away from everything so that they can reset and then come back, rebalance. So it's important that you don't want to get to burnout. That's why you have to monitor stress by engaging in wellness on a regular basis.
So this is a little visual here, right? You begin with stress, then there's more, then there's a lot. Too much stress, burnout. And if you look at, the matches, right? Burnout. I mean, there's little to no more left. That's really what we're saying, right? There's nothing left to where you could pour into yourself. And we're trying to not let you get to that particular point. You are in human services. We do take on a lot. There's a lot to do because we're working with other human beings, right? We are essentially responsible to ensure that the individuals that we're working with get what they need, right? And oftentimes we don't think about ourselves in that process. So I'm sure you're like, oh my goodness, this is so alarming. What do we do? What can we do, Kennedy, Dr. O, what can we do? Well, we're gonna tell you in a couple of minutes. All right. So we're going to say you have to do self-care, right? And self-care must be compassionate. So meaning that you take wellness seriously, activities and behaviors that nourish you. So whether it's reading a book, what nourishes you? I know good for me, a good movie, right? For me, it may just be laying in the bed for an extra hour in silence, right? It could be, having the children out in a babysitter, you do something for yourself. Whatever that is for you, you got to be able to do that.
And I just want to say that, so I saw Clyde with a cup of hopefully coffee or tea. Even in a moment like that, that could be self-care, an activity like just holding your tea and just feeling the warmth and not thinking of anything but, oh, this tastes good. This is wonderful. That's self-care. Just doing 2 minutes of that before the next person comes in with the next issue you have to deal with. Surprisingly, that's centering, that's grounded, that's self-care. So people think of self-care in terms of the vacation, the spa day. That's self-care can be minute by minute before you pick up the next client. Maybe you just had a rough session. Taking 2 minutes and say that, you know what, I'm going to do nothing and just listen to what's in the environment and just tune in, just auditory. That's self-care. Or I'm going to just smell. Because sometimes we only use our 2 senses, our visual and our ears. Say, I'm just going to smell what's in the environment, even if it's foul, but just getting that super focus so that my brain can just, de-stress from what I just experienced. So think of self-care as, how do I use my sensories minute by minute, not just the big macro self-care things that we think about. Think of self-care in micro terms as well. The little things, moment to moment, that can be done. Kennedy.
Absolutely. And think about it as a privilege. Not many of us are able to do it. Some people, this is going to be very hard for, believe it or not, right? They struggle when when you think about self-care, they feel it's a selfish act, right? So we have to be able to move beyond that. It is your responsibility. It is a responsibility in the profession that we currently are working in, and that's human services. It is your responsibility to ensure that you are well, you pour into yourself.
So, and a way to kind of look at that, and it's something I had to say to someone who is also in the helping profession in counseling, that when they said, I don't want to be selfish, don't look at it as self. Say, I want to be self-giving. If I give to myself, because we use ourself for our work, I give to myself to refuel myself so I can give back to the work that I do. So framing it as self-giving, so then I can give back, give out. Then that feeling of selfishness also leave, that I give as part of my work and I also give to myself.
All right. So what isn't self-care? We just said being selfish. That's not self-care, right? So self-care is not selfish. So actions that deplete us is not self-care, right? To continue and say, oh, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to do that later. And later never comes, right? Adding more tasks to your to-do list, an emergency burnout prevention plan, right? So when you are we already understand when you're in burnout, you have nothing left, right? So it cannot be an emergency prevention plan. A New Year's resolution, right? We often have New Year's resolutions and we say, oh, this year I'm going to take care of myself, right? Your body needs it. Once your body breaks down and your health deteriorates, that's it. We don't get a second chance oftentimes. So it's not a New Year's resolution. Dr. Otiello was just saying that, look, this is what we can do in a minute, right? Just thinking about doing something just to get recentered. That's really important, right? And it's not a quick fix, which means you've got to keep doing it, right? It's something that you must incorporate in your practice. As Nike say, just do it, right? So you got to really be able to do it every day, and be intentional about what you do.
And as part of being intentional, for those of you who like to-do lists, I love to-do lists. Something about crossing things off your list feels good. And I don't like the computer one. I like the actual writing. Put self-care in your to-do list daily, and make it a priority. Like, what are you going to do? An example that I also say is that don't take lunch at your desk. Take lunch away. Don't work and eat. You can't really focus. And when you're eating, maybe say, I focus on your taste bud. Remember what I said about the sensory? Like, I'm tasting my food, I'm swallowing it. I'm, a little bit more cayenne pepper this time that I wanted. Really feel that's still self-care, because what you're doing is now you're focusing on your taste bud, and the other part of your brain that gets engaged in work is now resting, so that after lunch, now you can go back to focusing on the work you do.
So what are some of those benefits? More energy, job satisfaction, life satisfaction, right? You also gain perspective. And oftentimes, there's sometimes when we are upset and angry, all we need is perspective, right? We take a look and say, you know what, but I'm okay, right? For a variety of different reasons, of which you can list out. You can also model self-care for others. You can do this for your clients, and you can also do this for your colleagues that you work with. It also can help you to enjoy a career and also life balance. It increases your happiness, mental and physical health benefits when you do this, healthy relationships, and it's also good for ethical practice, right? You cannot lash out on clients. You cannot lash out on your colleagues, right? And then you can't say, oh, I'm just doing it because I'm stressed, right? You have to be able to sort of begin to manage that and be, again, right, just really thinking about it. And as Dr. O said, putting it on your to-do list, even if it gets to that level, you got to do it. So what is compassion? So compassion. So think about your experience of compassion, maybe either directed towards other people, or it may be directed inwardly towards yourself, right? So we've been talking about self-care, and I'm saying, you have to have some level of self-compassion. And when you experience compassion for other people, you feel their pain. You want to find ways to essentially relieve some of that for them. These feelings compel you to action, to do what you can to make the situation better. So therefore, the problem with putting others first is you teach them you will always come second, right? You create your own reality. You create that.
So what we really, really want to do is really practice the art of self-compassion. Yes. So self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you would show to others. So rather than beating yourself up over mistakes and saying things like, I should have, could have, why didn't I do this? I didn't get it right perfectly. What is wrong with me? All of that just heaps shame and guilt, which is not good for your self-care or for your wellness. Instead, put yourself outside of yourself and say, if this were a client, would you be using that level of language and self incrimination with the client? So the same compassion that you direct to others, you need to direct to yourself. One of the things you can also look at is that, well, you always have an opportunity to do something else the next time. So you can say to yourself, you know what, next time I'm going to do better than what I did. Instead of dwelling in the errors that you made, say that, okay, I could have done this, I could have done this, let it go. And then for the next time. But practicing self-compassion means treating yourself the same way you treat others. Most importantly, having compassion for yourself means that you honor and accept your humanness. If you're saying you need to be way better, or you're above errors or above making mistakes, then what are you saying to your clients who make errors, who you're telling, they can, to have errors, to be human? Then are you saying you're not human? So we need to also remember that as well in practicing self-compassion. some of the benefits of self-compassion is that giving feels good. So one of the reasons why compassion can be so effective is that both giving and receiving can improve your psychological well-being. One of the things that I always say to folks, especially who are in the helping profession, a lot of people in the helping profession love giving help, but will never take help.
Mm-hmm.
and that means that you are not being authentic and true to the work you do. Because if you're saying it's okay to give help and for clients to receive help, then the same should apply to you. So self-compassion can also mean that you also get counseling for yourself. There's nothing wrong. You can't say that, well, because I'm somebody in the helping profession, I'm above getting help because I'm the one who gives help, not the person who receives help. Then you don't really honor your profession. You're saying that there's something weak about people who need help. And in a way, that's arrogant. And not only that, that's also marginalizing when you think about it deeply, because you're saying that there's differences and we all need help. And sometimes some of us need more help than others in other areas. And it's okay to let you, the giver of help, to receive help. That's also self-compassion, saying that, you know what, today I need to be a client. And there's nothing wrong with that. Also, compassionate people live longer. Engaging in activities such as volunteering to help those who feel compassion, who you feel compassion for, can help improve your longevity. Compassion contributes to a life of purpose. One study actually found that the happiness that comes from living a life of purpose and meaning is one that is fueled by kindness and compassion, and that can play a role in better health. In fact, sometimes they say that when you're feeling sorry for yourself or you're feeling like, wow, everything is awful, the best way to overcome that is to do something for someone else. It's also the same way when you're feeling depleted and you don't feel like you have anything to give. The best thing you can do is to say, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And say, I need help. I'm in trouble. I need somebody to refuel me so that I can go back out there in the world and refuel others. Compassion improves relationship. Compassion can also help you build the social support and connections that are important for mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So when to start? We everybody who flies, those announcements given. Who do you put the mask on first? You have to place the oxygen mask on yourself first before helping small children or others who may need your assistance. So put the mask on first. And putting the mask on first may also mean saying, I need help with putting this mask on. I thought I got it, but my hands are not quite working as well as it used to. Help me put the mask on, get those oxygen in, get centered, get that energy in, and then now you can help somebody who needs their mask put on.
Mm-hmm. So how much time? How much time do you have? So we're going to give you a couple of examples of different types of self-care that you can do in a few minutes. Next slide. So the first one is this. Now, this is something that we're asking for everyone to participate in. The video will load in a few minutes, but while it loads, we want you to actually do this, right? And it's not going to take anything from you, but it is going to be an experience that you have with your colleagues and also with us, all right? And this is called laughter yoga. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this before. Pause it, Felicia. We don't hear the volume.
Oh, you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to stop share real quick and then click on those two little radio buttons so everyone can hear the volume. Okay. Okay, now back to this. Can we all hear now?
Laugh for health. Laugh for healing.
Expand it.
It's about time we let go and laugh more.
Put it in the
Now,
presenter
there was a
mode.
time I looked for something
Take it
or
from the presenter
someone
mode.
to make me
I
laugh.
think it's in presenter mode.
But when
Yeah,
I
take it from there.
depended on those external factors, I went days without laughing until I found laughter yoga. Laughter yoga gave me a safe space to connect with others and laugh. And I was so impassioned by it that I became a laughter teacher. I'm going to invite you now in this session of laughter yoga. I want you all to stand in your glory. All right, now I have to say something. When we start laughing, it always feels slightly uncomfortable. So, to help us with that, I want you to do this. What you're doing right now is shooing away all the judges that sit on your
Where
shoulders
we
day
would
in
like
and
you to
day out
participate
judging
in
you.
this
They're
process.
gone.
Shoot away. Good
The next thing
job.
we're gonna
Thank
do,
you, Melissa.
take your hands, spread them wide, and
Thank you, Rand.
let's go with the feet. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 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 Very good. All right, let's bring it back. Are your hands tingling? We're alive. All right. Now, we have a saying in laughter yoga. Fake it till you make it. But even if you don't make it, it doesn't matter because science proves that regardless of whether the laughter is real or fake, the body makes no distinction. So when you engage in this action called laughter, the body follows suit and you start feeling the emotion connected to laughter. This is how we actually help decrease the cortisol in our body and increase endorphins. So let's do it. Now, we got to get out of our heads. So we're going to do this laughter exercise called the brainwash. So follow me. Put your hands like this, and we're going to unzip with a sound. Going to open it up. Take your brains. You see it? And now wash. Very good. Okay, let's do another one. We got to get into the nooks and cranny of the brain, so we got something called the mental floss. So you're going to take your floss and put it over your heads, and guess what? Start flossing. Very good, very good. Yay! Say with me. Very good, yay! Take a deep breath. Ooh. These I am statements are so important and so powerful. We're going to catch our breath. We're going to take a deep breath in, and we are going to say, I am strong. I am strong. Exhale. I am healthy. Inhale. I am strong. Exhale. I am healthy. And one more time. I am strong. And I am healthy. Bring it together. Hands on the heart. Thank you.
How did that make you guys feel?
Lighter.
Lighter. You know, I mean, the takeaway is this with this is that the beauty is your body doesn't know if you're fake laughing or if you're laughing for real, right? It gives the same impact. The endorphins go off. It doesn't matter. So even if you are just, you know, doing this laughing yoga, which is actually a real thing that people do, right? Even if you're doing that, it just helps you to change your whole body composition. That's the beauty of it. And we're introducing you to something a little different. So that's one technique. So the next one is a 5-minute self-care, right? 5 minutes. So these are a couple of examples that you can do on your own, right? Step outside, get some fresh air. Self-care, look at that. Do a short mindful breathing, mindfulness breathing exercise, of which we did in the beginning. Listen to a song or music. Drink some water. Dr. O was talking about the coffee, right? Just even if you're sipping that between sessions, just for you to refuel. Find something new to learn that you enjoy. Stretch out to release any tension, right? Oftentimes we're in sedentary positions when we are working. So just stretching, getting up, walking around your chair, walking to the restroom, coming back, you can do that as well. Write down 3 nice things about you. You know, I'm sure I could find like 1,000, right? We could find 3, right? 3 nice things about yourself, just to remind yourself of who you are, right? And what your purpose is. So a 10-minute morning self-care routine. 1 to 2 minutes, you could stretch out your body. Another 1 to 2, do a short silent practice, right? 3 minutes, make your morning drink, right? Whether that's a smoothie, tea, whatever it is. And you can do this in silence. You can do this while you're listening to music. You can do this while humming, whatever you choose. 2 to 3 minutes, you can write in a journal. Some of us, we journal for that feels good, right? You can do that as well. And you can write about the things that you're grateful for or the highlights that you had yesterday, right? So gratefulness is also a part of that self-care. You know, I'm grateful that I have, people who love me. I'm grateful for being able to get to work, right? I'm grateful for my health, etc. Just very quickly. And you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step. So you may be thinking, what does this have to do? This seems to be really silly, but it really isn't, right? So, and what it is that you may not see the full picture right now, but if you take the first step in being extremely intentional about the care and the compassion you pour into yourself, that's the first step. Then you'll be able to begin to see the benefits, the overall benefits in terms of what this is going to do for you and your own practice. Okay, we would like to end with a love and kindness meditation.
So this is a loving kindness meditation that I tend to do usually to end sessions with, sometimes with clients and sometimes even with, staff. So wherever you are, and then we're going to do Q&A after this. Just sit, stay grounded, and close your eyes. And try not to think about anything as we do this deep breathing. And listen carefully. And you can also repeat as well. May we be free from inner and outer harm and danger. May we be free of mental suffering or distress. May we be happy. May we be free of physical pain and suffering. May we be healthy and strong. May we be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, with ease. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that's a loving kindness meditation. And I tend to do that version with sometimes with clients, sometimes with staff. And we may do it like 3 times because it promotes kindness for self, but also kindness in going out into the world. So, and this is another version, a short one that you can use on a, daily, right? Say to yourself, you can say, may you or may I. Sometimes I say, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be safe, may I be peaceful and at ease, especially in the world we live in right now. And here's some additional exercises and resources that we've provided. So I'm going to stop share, and then something else too that Dr. Kennedy and I highly recommend is that self-care and stress busters can also come from each other. So we'd like you to take a few minutes, write in chat, what are some things you already do that you want to share with folks in this space that you find to be helpful in practicing self-compassion, de-stressing, staying grounded. And you can just share it in the chat.
Yeah. Kim said listening to music. Antoine, reading. Yeah. Music is a big one for me too. Clyde, sitting, listening to the ocean. Okay, experiencing the sun. Alejandra, exercise in the morning. Nice. Myra, singing out loud. I love it. Elizabeth, just sitting. Oh, wow. Oh my God. All right, Melissa, the beach. Peter, Jazz, all day. Michelle, calling a friend. Okay, good. There were a couple more people I think I missed. Regina, I like to listen to specifically reggae while driving home in traffic. Yes. Felicia, standing in the rain. Elizabeth, just sitting without TV, computer, or other noise, enjoying silence. Good. Good. I like that one too. Felicia, telling jokes. Antoine, watching a good comedy movie, right? I'm an action buff myself here. Let me see if there's anyone that I missed. Okay, I think I caught everyone. So yeah. Talking to friends, Kim, Felicia, watching K-drama, right? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Any questions or any sort of comments people would like to share while we have a couple of minutes, about 6 minutes left? We wanted to kind of opening up for discussion if needed. All of our sessions have sort of ended right on the dot. So any sort of thoughts?
Well, I'm glad we did this because one of the things that Clyde and I talked about last week, and I kind of copied it saying, I still don't know who said it, but it's about setting myself on fire to keep others warm. And obviously, and in this work, you try to do that most of the time, where obviously you take on just about everybody's stuff rather than the stuff that's of your own. So it's kind of like refreshing to kind of de-stress from the fact that you're responsible for the stuff that you really have no control over, and you just need to, as I say, take the first step. Maybe that's the first step. Don't worry about getting to the top of the staircase.
Right.
And I think that is really a good reminder, because when you feel like, hey, I still have so much to do, and it's not just work, because it compounds between family, work, friends, and everything else that we're covering in this implicit bias piece. I was extremely stressed about this new shooting that I saw this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically threw me for a loop. this dude being shot in the head with a cop on top of him was just like, okay, how much more? And so it's really, I think this helped. I've never heard about laughing yoga. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But it was good. Thanks.
The laughing yoga for me was great because I felt guilty for the whole first half of the presentation. I was like, okay, I do that. I have started to try to notice, but I'm glad Stacia's not on here because she would say, yes, I tell him that all the time. But it can be difficult, and I look at here at the office, we love having a great, warm, fun environment because of the work that we do. So it's like this just engages us to understand how we have to use these tools, not just because you all are telling us, but they're very helpful to help us manage personal stuff so that when we are together, we can, we only got 8 hours a day. We can enjoy each other during that 8 hours because all that other stuff, it'll be there when we get done, and there's probably nothing we can do about it while we're at work. So I think it's great reminders. I probably need them more, a lot more. So I might have to review this video a few times.
First of all, thank you both for lending your expertise and compassion and energy to our agency. I'm sad that I missed most of them due to my schedules, but I'm happy that I'm at this one because thank you to remind us to be kind to ourselves and love ourselves. And that's always, it's hard. I just turned 55 last week. Happy birthday, Jackie. She's my birthday twin.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
My family
Oh, I know
surprised
how old
me.
you are.
I know, right? Everybody does. My family threw me a surprise party like 2 weeks before and completely got me. Like they're all a bunch of liars and I'll get them, whatever. But it was so overwhelming. And all I could felt was just love, right? And so I'm a giver by nature. And they're like, well, this is the least we can do for you. But I don't give for that. But just to be able to sit and receive it was really hard. And it's still hard, right? But then I think about just when I look in the mirror, what do I look at? I'm on this fitness journey and all I see is, oh, my stomach is still there. Everybody else is like, oh my gosh, you lost all those inches. I'm like, okay, but you see the stomach, right? But how about just being kind to yourself? So thank you for that reminder, because I think we all need to be reminded of that. Like even if we were just off that day, I'm still okay. I'm still worthy. I'm still loved. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's always easy to go down the road of negativity, right? Yeah. So, and especially even when we have been talking about throughout this entire series, whether it's stereotype, microaggressions, right? I mean, that stuff is easy. The hard thing is saying to someone, that was a microaggression, right? Or, you know what? I don't think that's cool what you said. Those are the hard things, right? Pushing back against the things that are the easiest. And self-care is not easy, of which Kim just talked about. It is something that you really have to be intentional about because it's easy to find our flaws. Zoom was terrible for some people because they were looking at themselves, right? And not looking at anyone else. Kind of like, oh my God, this is how I look. Oh, why does my chin look like that, right? So they're picking themselves apart in the Zoom meetings, right? So it's so easy to do that, right? But to find the good things, the qualities that make up who you are as a human being, right? To honor yourselves. Those are the hard things to do. Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in? So before we leave, we're going to do a one-word checkout, right? And want you to think of one word, well, just one. I know it's going to be hard for some of you. Just one word about whether it's the discussion today or the series of presentations. Just one word. What are your thoughts around all of that? Peter, go.
Invigorating.
Invigorating. All right. Michelle, go.
I would say insight. Oh gosh, I'm gonna mess it up. Insight,
Insightful. Okay.
insightful.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Lance, go.
Grateful.
Okay. Okay. Myra, I see your hand up. Go.
Energetic.
Energetic. Okay, good, good. Melissa, go. One word. We'll come back to you, Melissa. Think of one word. Veronica, go.
I was thinking grateful as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Elizabeth.
Revealing.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Doris.
You know what? I forgot what the question was.
One word checkout. Whether it's about the session or about the series, one word. Anything how you're feeling right now.
Because I had a word and then I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if that's correct. So I'll stop talking so I can give you my one word. I would say profound.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Regina, go.
Self-reflection.
Okay. All right. Thank you. T. Guzman, go.
I'd say comforting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Antoine, go.
Informative.
Informative. Thank you. Clyde, go.
Enlightening.
Okay. Thank you. Jackie, go.
Awareness.
Thank you. Jelani, go.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you. Velma, go.
Educational.
Okay. Thank you. Kim, go.
Appreciation.
Thank you. Myra? Mayra? Oh, yeah,
Right,
you said yours. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Idalia?
I was thinking grateful.
Okay, thank you. Maria? Maria? Okay, she may have walked away. Melissa, are you ready?
I mean,
Anything you're feeling?
stress. Like
Stress. That's your word. That's okay.
Like that's why I can't come up with a word.
That's okay. That's your word. That's okay. Stress, we'll take it.
Because it's hyphenated.
It's-
Melissa needs hugs.
Send
Send hugs.
My word is humbled.
It's making my heart beat fast to even say that out loud. Like
Really?
Like yeah, but stress.
That's all right. We know what to do now with that, right? So that's okay. We appreciate it. And I'm humbled. My one word is humbled.
I was going to say humble, so now I know that I worked too long with Dr. Kennedy, but I'm going to go with community, and that's what we're all trying to build.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It is our time. We appreciate you guys for being here. This is the end of our series. You will be getting a couple more self-care information, and you will also get a reading list to working towards anti-racism, right? Anti-racist practice. And how do you do that? And what are some things that we can do to ensure? So thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We're going to stay on and continue some conversations with the doctors, and you guys enjoy your day, and we will see you soon.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.